You never know what's going to happen in the world of college athletics, especially the one we're living in right now. This was going to be a boring Saturday before fall camp kicks off. Nope, not the case. I'm Nick Roush, he's Steven Peake, and this is a surprising Saturday rapid reaction here on the KSR YouTube channel. And I don't know why I'm echoing, but do you hear that echo anymore? Did I get rid of it? I don't know what's happening. I'm
It
sorry,
was kind of,
everybody.
yeah, it sounded a little weird.
Oh, we're good.
At
We're
first.
good to go.
Okay.
We're good. I got that tab closed out now. Apologies to our friends of Cole. They always feel our rapid reactions. It's resilient. It's reliable. It's affordable. Cole's been around a long time. The NCAA has been around a long time, but the future of it is uncertain. And Peak Friday night, it was kind of like drinking from a fire hose to figure out what the hell is going on. Because seemingly out of nowhere, we got an injunction from a Colorado judge that said 5 for 5, it's good for all. If you're in the class of 2022, you get an extra year of high school eligibility, which, okay, that's a lot to unpack. Simultaneously, the Big Ten and SEC, they got the language they wanted to support the Protect College Sports Act, to push it forward to try to get it on the Senate floor to vote before the August recess in Congress. That's a lot in and of itself, Peak. But then today happens, and we basically have a new transfer portal.
Yeah, on August 1st. August 1st.
Kentucky Football Media Day is Monday.
Yeah. We got a lot of questions now.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I guess the best way to start, there's so much. I can't. It's hard to keep it all organized. We're going to do our best to keep it organized. All right. The first thing I want to do is start with the conspiracy theory, Peak, and that's
I love these.
Right up your alley. We're putting our Brian Windhorst fingers up. Okay. So the 5 for 5 rule, they passed this in June. When they did it, they said we're not going to be retroactive. This is just moving forward. They knew that lawsuits were going to happen.
We all did.
They filed them immediately. And what I want to bring up is what one of the attorneys who filed the lawsuit said to Front Office Sports. It appears that the decision to exclude the college athletes, knowing that they would likely win a TRO, was for political expediency to publicize the need for legislative action. We are concerned that having decisively achieved a hard-won victory, the Protect College Sports Act will now ignore the judge's careful analysis and block the college athletes' access to the courts in the future. David Cobb from CBS, the way he described it, they said it chose to stand in front of a freight train, the class of 2022, to try and draw a charge to bait Congress into intervening. So the Brian Windhorst fingers are the NCAA was playing chess. They wanted to create chaos so that the Big Ten and SEC were like, we got to do something with the NCAA. We got to Protect College Sports Act, make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like. Now, like, am I buying your conspiracy theory?
Yes.
I'm buying stock in that. I mean, well, it's like what you said at the very beginning. We all knew that this was going to happen. We all knew that there were going to be lawsuits. I mean, Will Wade only had 4 players on his team because he was so confident he was going to be able to. He was like, I'm going after. Is he going to fill his team with only 5th-year guys, I guess? Because it looked like he was holding out knowing that was going to be the case. But everybody knew that this was going to happen. I mean, so I wish it would have happened a little earlier. As far as Kentucky, though, like, I mean, are there spots available? Like, how many spots are available?
Let's start with basketball, Peak.
Okay, there's one spot.
There's one spot for basketball, but for guys like Will Wade, they have a ton of roster spots.
Mm-hmm.
And there actually are some really quality players that are available. Donovan Dent, he was ready to retire from basketball.
I was going to mention Donovan Dent, yeah. UCLA, 13 points per game, 7.6 assists.
He's
shot
back
the three
on the market
pretty decently towards the end of the season.
AJ Storr, 4 schools in 4 years. Huge disappointment at Kansas. Yeah, why not make 5 schools in 5 years? That seems right up Will Wade's alley. The one, like the best player in my mind available is Mark Mitchell.
Mark Mitchell. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, he 2-time All SEC for Missouri. That guy's just kind of a pain in the ass as a stretch four. I mean, does a little bit of everything.
Isn't that the position you think that Kentucky is in most need of? I mean, I think a big is where you need to go. I am worried about, Kepning and his health, relying solely on Malachi Marino, basically at the 5. So if you can get like another guy, you can get a guy like Mark Mitchell who can play the 4, but he's 6'9".
Yeah.
So like he can bang down low. Also, you have Njae, also a similar build.
Well, and you don't know what you're going to get from Cam Williams, right? I mean, he had the second surgery.
True. So he's like a 3. Do you try to go get another wing?
Okay, I think this is a fascinating name to follow, regardless of the circumstances. I don't think it will be Kentucky, but Richie Saunders.
Oh, right. Yeah, BYU. He was almost going to come. He was about to come to Kentucky, right?
He got drafted, but he's unsigned with the Grizzlies, and that is in part because of his ACL injury in February. So, like,
okay, well,
and now, so like the point I wanted to make, this applies to football, basketball, all of them, is that players have to weigh their options when it comes to, do I have a better chance at making this professional roster, like which we'll see with like training camps, NFL, etc., or am I better off going the college route? And then the other part of the equation is, how much money is left in the banana stand in these budgets to go and acquire other players? How much money can they spend this late in the game when, I mean, you would think that most schools have already spent their budget for the year. So,
well, with
another thing to consider.
Well, with Kentucky, at least, they should have some cash laying around. They were going to offer that Serbian kid a bunch of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
correct.
You would think that, okay, you still have that pile of money if you wanted to add Mark Mitchell or Donovan Dent or whoever. So, I mean, I think if you're just talking about Kentucky, they got money. LSU should have all the money to spend.
Right.
And somebody put out a tweet that was basically like, here's how many roster spots are available for all the Power 5 conference basketball teams. And, I mean, and also included all the players from those teams who would be getting a 5th year. How about Denzel Aberdeen? I mean, it's like they knew that he was going to be. That was just all going to work out.
Florida planned ahead. They were ready to fire up the lawsuit machine. When it comes to football, one thing to keep in mind, because of the time crunch, like, do you remember when Kentucky had all those defensive line injuries in spring that one year?
What year was that?
Maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, I want to say it was 2 springs ago. It was when the spring portal still existed. And in that spring portal, they were like, well, let's try to find a defensive lineman. And what happened is there weren't a lot of options. So a lot of bad players got paid a lot of money to go. Like LSU ended up spending a ton for a guy who was like a rotational player at best. You could see this in college football because there's some programs out there who are worried about depth at certain spots. And, like there's this kid from Central Connecticut State, nose tackle, who all of a sudden is available now. Somebody's going to end up spending more money than what he's probably worth because they feel like we got to get this depth piece at the 11th hour. I should note that the NCAA says they're going to have an expedited appeal to try to stop this. I don't know how or what that's going to happen. I think, Peake, from the school side of things, we are going to, we talk a lot about the players who are available. The schools are still trying to figure out, like, if any of this is actually possible, if getting any of these players is actually possible.
So adding somebody to your roster for football a month out from the season starting. Now, I mean, a guy like Alex Safari, obviously, like he's getting ready to go, like getting ready for, the NFL. But so he'll be like in shape, ready to rock, but it's a totally new defense. How does that work?
So from a practical standpoint, because that was the when Luckett started assessing who could potential players that we know fit the criteria, Alex Safari was one that stood out. I know a lot of fans will say, well, Dane Key was in that class. Could we bring Dane Key back? Dane Key signed a deal with the Broncos that doesn't ensure he is definitely going to be on the 53-man roster, but he's going to get paid and be on a practice squad. And there's a good chance he's going to make good money and be around. And he's also playing with his brother Devin at Denver. I'm skeptical that Dane Key would be one of these players who would try to return to college. But Alex Safari, he was at a Packers rookie minicamp. I'm sure he was staying in shape, even though his outlook wasn't good to make a team. It could fit returning to a place like Kentucky, even if the scheme is different. Yes, he would have to learn a new scheme, but he would have to learn a new scheme, if he's going to the NFL, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's played 4 years of college football. He played real snaps. He has more experience than anybody in that linebacker room. There's a need for it. Grant Godfrey has 300 snaps in his career, and Afari was doing 400 a year. Godfrey was expected to be a starter, but he was going to be starting alongside a second-year player in Bo Barnes. So, this could make sense for Kentucky. They could just get a starting linebacker at the 11th hour out of nowhere. I mean, just wild peak.
How big would that be? I mean, obviously, Alex Safari is one of the better Kentucky football players that I've seen in my lifetime. How big would that be?
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Why would he not be exaggerating a little bit? But
yeah, no, he's one of the he's what is he, soccer player turned football player?
Right.
It's got lots of speed. I don't know. I'm a big Alex Safari fan.
Okay. From a purely pragmatic standpoint, on the field, what he would do, your greatest concern, at least mine, aside from just how sticky are the guys on the edges at corner when they're playing more man, how good's the edge rushers, how good are they going to be? The run defense is a legitimate concern, right? You stout in the trenches, you have good safeties, but these linebackers, part of the Bo Barnes is a top 100 recruit, great athlete, but you get good at football by playing football, is something Will Stein says. Mm-hmm. That's especially the case when fitting the run at linebacker, because SEC offenses, they try to get you out of your gaps, right? They try to confuse you. And as we saw early in Afari's career, when he made that move to inside linebacker, he just missed some run fits because he didn't have the experience. So Kentucky was going to have to play through some growing pains with Bo Barnes. That's just something that we've said on 11 personnel. It's just going to take some time to figure out. So, if you get Afari in there, then you don't have to go through that growing curve early in the season. Now, the downside is you've got this, Bo Barnes could be an all-SEC player, multi-year starter for Kentucky. You would be stunting his growth. That's something you'd have to consider. So, that's where I don't think it's an obvious yes, you just take the money and run and go. But that's sort of that's
but
laying
if Alex
out
wants to come back, if he wants to come back, do you think Will has to take him?
I think you'd probably say yes. You can get a starting LCC linebacker at a thin position that's really inexperienced. Yeah. So I think you say yes.
Do you think that they were this will help me understand where Kentucky football is at as well. Do you think that they were happy that this happened? Do you think the Kentucky football program was all right, great. Now we can add a couple more players that maybe otherwise we wouldn't have? Or do you think they were they'd rather have this and not have happened?
I don't know if it was on their radar necessarily. They added a couple JUCO running backs for depth because they there's injury concerns in that room. They needed bodies. So from my standpoint, I think the hay was in the barn and they were just looking ahead to football, right? All right, let's go to fall camp. But now this happens. So you got to figure it out, and you're figuring out with a new guy in charge of Pete Nocta. That's you had that happen just a couple days ago as well. So it's crazy. And then on top of it, we haven't even gotten into just the Protect College Sports Act. We don't have to get into all of it. Luckett has a lot of the details on KSR Plus of like what this legislation actually means. The biggest thing from the changes in the language that we need to mention is that you would add $20 million to your salary cap annually just in retention funds, and then additionally $5 million for non-revenue sports. So you're effectively doubling your cap to $48 million a year. Not every team can afford that. I mean, I think most of the power conferences would find a way to make it work, but this was they basically put in. They said, here, we're going to grow the cap, but we're going to make hard rules so you can't circumvent it. And
are they going to be able to enforce these rules?
That's the goal of this act is, yes, you can enforce all of this stuff.
But will they have the people to be able to look into the spending to make sure that they are following? Because every time the NCAA did something, it was never the NCAA who did the investigating. Like, at Louisville, they wrote a book.
Right.
They don't write the book, they don't get in trouble.
And that's sort of my ultimate contention with the Protect College Sports Act is, even if it does get passed, which this is just, we are on hole number 4 of 18 holes, right? Like, it's got to go through the bill up on Capitol Hill, Schoolhouse Rock. There is a lot to do still to make this happen. But I ultimately fear that this is just another kicking the can down the road before we get to collective bargaining.
That's where it feels like this is all headed. I asked the question on KS Board, like, at what point do we get to where you just, at least with football and basketball, and I know we have Title IX and all that you have to think about as well, but how much longer until these guys are just they're professional athletes? This is professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get them on 3-year contracts? At what point do we even say, you know what, it doesn't matter if you want to still play college sports for 10 years? You can do it, where it's completely untethered from getting a degree. They'll offer a degree, but you don't have to pursue one. You could just play sports. You could just be like, you're an employee at the university. If you want to take some classes, you can, but really you're just here to play football and basketball. Do you think that's where we're going?
I don't know about the second part. Like, I think they would cap age,
but why?
Stuff like that.
But why? I mean, guys
because
don't want to play
at the end of the
anyways.
day, they can't, like, they are a part of a system where you move players along, sort of deal.
The better players will move on, but like, there might be some guys who just, they play for 7 years in college sports before nobody wants them.
And that's like, that can be like a fun, you can do 2 hours of radio on like how crazy this thing could get.
Don't worry, I will.
Yeah, exactly. But my overarching opinion is that, like, you had NIL, then you had the House settlement, now you've got the Protect College Sports Act. These leagues don't want a collective bargain at all. So I think this is sort of we've done everything. Here's our last ditch effort to try to prevent us from getting to collective bargaining. So it's kind of where we are. We're getting to 20 minutes. I don't want to go longer than that. Then a rapid reaction turns into a podcast.
Sure.
But Peake, do you have any other questions bubbling in that brain of yours that you want to that we may have glossed over or not addressed?
Sorry, Alex Safari is one guy we've mentioned. As far as how many spots do they have left? Did they add like 3, 4, 5 guys? I
don't even know, because there were roster limits by the House settlement, but they're still walk-ons. So like, I don't know, but I would think that they don't want to fiddle-faddle around with it too much, that they just want to kind of move forward and get to the football side of things. The basketball one is the most fascinating because you seemingly have a month before classes start to get everything in line.
Well, I've assumed that the reason that Kentucky's held off on this 15th spot is for this. Now, is there something to be said about messing with the locker room or anything like that? I mean, the season hasn't started yet, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But yeah, it's just a lot. I'm trying to maintain my focus, but it's hard. There's a lot happening. We're trying to get as much content to you as possible on Kentucky Sports Radio. There's a ton on KSR Plus. August just started. Football is happening this month. So it's $1 to sign up. Go ahead, do it, join it. I got some like Kentucky Football Insider notes today. That like it's great stuff on the roster that just it's getting swept under the rug with all this chaos. So go ahead, get on KSR Plus. We appreciate you hanging out with us there. We appreciate you hanging out with seeing now. I can't even get my words out because I'm so excited. There's so much happening. Peake, thanks for jumping on with me on a Saturday. Yeah. I know you're going to be fired up for TBT tomorrow. There's a TBT preview on the KSR YouTube channel. So much is happening. So thank you, Peake. Thanks everybody for watching, listening. Just keep clicking. We got lots of stuff out there. We'll see you later.